This is the Working Investor. I've been doubling down on research to find out if you use the Yield Max Inverse ETFs against its counterpart in 50-50 proportions, is that a good way to preserve your net asset value and have a high dividend payout, or is that too good to be true? How has that played out in actuality? Because of course on the prospectus they do have lots and lots of disclaimers that this is not going to be perfect and there could be a lot of problems. So they don't promise you anything. But let's see how this has played out, because I'm in it and I want to see if I want to double down on it further. So my objective is to, number one, preserve, don't lose money. You know, as they say, rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, look at rule number one, don't lose money. So you want to preserve net asset value. That's why I'm doing the underlying TSLY and its counterpart, its inverse counterpart, crash, CRSH. So preserve net asset value. And then number two, collect high yield dividends. People say, oh, I don't need to hedge are for millionaires, da da da. But again, the idea is not to keep, not just to, hedge where, people argue that you're not going to get rich off it. The point is, I'm not looking for massive growth in value. I'm just trying to preserve the value and collect a very tremendously high amount of dividends. So let's look at the chart, and you'll see here that the yellow on top is the so the yellow is the TSLY, and the blue on the bottom, the yellow is the crash, the blue is the TSLY. And when they started off, look at the total value. So add up the $15.84. Well, it was started actually at May 2nd, so 80 cents, $15.80, and add it to the $20.09. You have about $35 and change, almost $36. And what's I'm not happy with is if you go fast forward to today, I'm expecting it to preserve more or less the net asset value and get the high payouts that they give. But I'm seeing here that it's about 15.11, 15.47. I mean, 15.15 is 30, 11 and 47 is 58. So it's $30.58. So it lost about a little over 5 buckaroos in the past, since May, since it opened up, May, June, July. So it did lose, definitely did lose. Let's also see how the FIAT and CONY played out as well, because they're a little newer. So I just went back 1 month. They opened July 10th. So it looks like the yellow is the short, which is the FIAT, which is the CONY short of CONY. And the blue on the bottom, the blue is CONY, which is the high yield dividend ETF of Coinbase. And you'll see here that the value together total, let's say if you did 50-50 in each allocation, $20 per unit and $19 per unit. So it's about $39.10 to be exact. And that's when it started in July 10th. So why did I say June? July 10th. And now we're only about 17 days later to see how did this play out. Are you still around $39? So it looks like you did lose a little bit. You lost about $1, right? You lost about $1. So it did lose about $1 in NAV. So it's not perfect. You know what I mean? It's not a very perfect hedge where the sum of all things would be zero. There is a lot of loss. I would imagine some of the loss, and they have it all in the prospectus, but I would imagine there's the expense ratios that eats away on your return on both, that erodes your returns. There are other, bid-ask spreads. It also depends on where they put the strikes, when they do their synthetic puts and synthetic calls. So it's not a perfect thing, you know what I mean? So here I pretty much just reiterate the same thing. So it's just something to bear in mind. One thing is their prospectus and theory, and one thing is seeing how it's being played out in the charts in real time, and seeing that yes, it is the case that it's not a, it doesn't seem like a perfect hedge, even though right now I'm actually doing pretty well, but that's only representative of a couple days. It's not telling you the whole picture as clearly as you see how it plays out. This is the Working Investor over and out. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you guys have any other hedges, ideas? Let's keep the discussion rocking and rolling. Have a wonderful weekend.